Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego live here in the panhandle of Florida with this big storm brewing outside of my window. We got this big storm. It's the tropics. And I'm used to it living here in Florida. I'm used to these tropical storms that blow in over the top of the house and then flood the yard with lots of water, etc., etc. And we're seeing now Visa's getting approved with NOA1 letters or receipt dates for the first few days of April 2022. So I know that's exciting news for all you guys out there who have K1 Visa NOA2 letters receipt dated for April 2022. But we also want to help see the folks pull over the finish line from back in October, November, December 21, and January, February, March 2022. Also, we want to see everybody get their visa approved, but not every visa is the same. It's not a cookie cutter process. Okay, every visa is different. My visa is going to be different from your visa. Trust me, I got a lot of stuff that they're going to have to look at in my visa package. This is my second K1 visa. Now, Karina, right now, she's at home in Bogota, Colombia, and she's doing well. She's keeping the cat company. But I just wanted to make I wanted just to go live with you guys to show you that there is a live person that can actually talk to you and help you get through this process. I know it's very difficult trying to get a hold of immigration. USCIS are hard to get a hold of. You can use the Emma online chat, the AI, artificial intelligence program. But some folks are saying, well, I'm not getting the response that I want. I'm not getting the answers that I want. Well, I try to fill in for USCIS. Now, I'm not an immigration attorney by any means. I just went through the process before, and I'm very experienced with it. Okay. Hi, Cecilia. How are you? Cecilia is in the house. So I just wanted to go live so that you folks out there know that Karina and I are here for you, and we're going to help you get through this process. Now, I'm making videos about different countries and the visa process. I've made videos on how to process a K1 visa. I've made videos on how to process a CR1 visa, how to write letter of intent. Licia Baby Barbara. Hello, Diego. Greetings from Nigeria. Hi, Licia Baby. Glad to see you. Hi, Janiela. Good to see you, Janiela James. We hope everybody's doing well. And this is an impromptu live chat because people are just getting frustrated. They're impatient, and it's normal to be impatient during this K1 visa process. It's normal to be impatient. You want to get your visa, and you want to get in the United States and get your life started. And I understand that. Yeah, Karina, she wants to be here too. Karina would much rather be in Florida getting her business established than in Bogota, Colombia. And it's just life. It's life. We muddle through. I don't know if you can hear that thunder. There's a kick butt storm coming in over here. So I changed the camera. I put the camera here so you can see out the window. Jose Custodio. My NOA1 is July 27, 2022. Hopefully everything will work out. Oh, sure. You're good. Everything's fine, Jose. Try to relax. July 2022. So you're going to be, so let's assume for you, in sake of arguments, that you have a 12-month wait time instead of a 16-month wait time like a lot of people. So this summer, okay, you should be hearing from USCIS because things are speeding up, Jose. Things are speeding up. The time is passing quickly too. Now, I try not to think about it too much. What I try to do is stay busy. Okay. Now, I'm a real estate agent, not an immigration attorney. I dabble in real estate, and then I put the YouTube channel together for you guys to give you somewhere to go to help you get through the process. Because I know it's tough getting hold of USCIS, and they're busy people. Okay, they're busy people. They're trying to process visas. So every time you call immigration, I'm not saying you guys, but every time somebody calls immigration, they got to stop what they're doing and respond to a phone call or an email. And the question is usually, what's the status of my K1 visa? Well, the status is you're in the queue waiting your turn. Okay, Janiela, I'm waiting on my welcome letter from the MVC. Great. Okay, don't be nervous about that. Once you get your welcome letter, then you can set up, you should get a case number where you can set up your online account in the SEAC system for a K1 visa. And then you can go in there and start, pay your visa fee, look for any openings to schedule your visa interview, and fill out your DS-160. Now, your DS-160 is your application for your entrance into the United States for your visa. A DS-160 is also filled out by folks who come to the United States as tourists. So if you get a B2 tourist visa, you also fill out a DS-160. The DS-260 is filled out by people who are already married. Okay, if you're already married to a U.S. citizen and then you're coming to the USA on a spousal visa, CR1, IR1, K3, whatever you want to call it, then you're going to fill out the DS-260. But if you are single or divorced and you're waiting for your K1 visa adjudication, you get approved with the NOA2, you get the welcome letter, you get the case number, you set up your SEAC account, go in there, pay your visa fee, fill out your DS-160, and then look for an opening for a visa appointment at the embassy. So, people ask me, well, how long is the wait for me? I don't know. I don't know how busy. When Karina's visa gets approved, hopefully it gets approved. If I get an RFE, okay, I'll respond to the RFE. Diego, you forgot to include this. Where's this? Where? Who knows? But when I get the welcome letter from the MVC, when I get my NOA2 letter saying your visa's been approved, then I got to wait for the MVC to get it. Now, and USCIS will approve it, send out the letter, computer-generated letter, and then it will go back on the shelf somewhere in California and wait for a bulk shipment date to the MVC. They'll ship out all the visas in batch shipments, okay? It could sit on the shelf in California for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. It depends. But the maximum wait time between NOA2 and the MVC, the maximum wait time I'm seeing is 3 months. And the shortest time I've seen is 2 weeks. So it depends on how busy they are. So then my K1 visa package gets mailed to the MVC. The MVC will get it, and then they'll look at it. Okay, good to go, and create a case number, send me an email. Okay, Diego, here's your case number. Now, if I don't get my invoice number, that's fine. The invoice number is when you get your ready status from the embassy. The MVC are going to hold on to your K1 visa approval until there's the workload at that particular embassy has calmed down, and then they can send your package off through a DHL courier to the embassy. Okay. So, for example, MVC gets my K1 visa package. I get the welcome letter. I get a case number. Then I got to wait for availability at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota for them to get freed up when they have appointments available. Once appointments get available, then I'll go online and schedule the visa interview date, get Karina in line for a medical exam by a doctor approved by the U.S. Embassy in Colombia. Fill out, now Karina or myself will fill out the DS-160. It's in English, so I'll probably fill it out and translate it, and then she'll sign it electronically. And then what you got to do is when you fill out the DS-160, you have to print the confirmation letter, the confirmation page that you have completed the DS-160. You must bring that confirmation page to your visa face-to-face interview. When you pay your visa fee at the embassy or online, you must print the receipt, the MERV receipt. You must bring that to the face-to-face visa interview. When you go to your face-to-face visa interview at the embassy, you must bring a copy of the K1 visa package that your sponsor mailed to the Dallas Lockbox a year plus ago. Bring a copy of the visa package to include photographs of you guys together and your family and friends, the I-129F, a copy of the I-129F, and your sponsor has to fill out Form I-134, Declaration of Financial Support. Okay, this is it right here. What I recommend you guys do is go online to uscis.gov. Look, these are sponsors I'm talking about. Look for this form I-134, okay, and print it and print the directions and start studying up on how to fill this form out. It's going to be, number one, give you something to do so you're not bored. And number two, it's going to get you educated on this very important form, because your beneficiary is going to bring this with her or him to the visa interview with your signature in black ink, your full name on this form. Okay, so USCIS Form I-134. It's the Declaration of Financial Support. Now, Mr. Sponsor, you're gonna check this block right here. Okay, this block right here is what you're gonna check. Another individual who is the beneficiary. That's the block you're gonna check. Now, if you were coming to the United States as a tourist, you're a foreign national, you want to come to the USA as a tourist, then you're going to check this block right here, which is myself as the beneficiary. But this is a form filled out by the sponsor. Okay, the Declaration of Financial Support is filled out by the sponsor, so you're going to check another individual who is the beneficiary. Okay, see the little X right there? That's what you're going to check. And then part two is information about the beneficiary. Her last name or his last name, okay? The date of birth, place of birth, country or citizenship. So if you like, Karina's from Venezuela, she's Venezuelan. So I'll put in there country, place of birth, Caracas, Venezuela, country, Venezuela, citizenship, Venezuela. But she lives in Colombia, and that's okay. Let's see, we got Kutrokan Bini Yao. My NOA 1 is April 20th, 2022. Well, you're 2 days ahead. You're 2 days past mine. I'm at April 18th. So we're in the same boat. Almost there, guys. Christopher Brown. Hi, Diego. The receipt number on my NOA 1 is WAC 20. Okay. So your visa went to California because WAC is the 3-digit alphabet code for California Service Center. My question is, how can I have a 900 number if that represents the number of computer days for the fiscal year? Christopher, don't even worry about that. All you got to focus on, Christopher, is the receipt number. And the receipt number is going to be when they start calculating the time. Don't get all confused up in the muddle and the puddle of the entire number. WAC means it went to California. The rest, don't even look at it. Just focus on the receipt number. How much longer is it going to take? 12 to 14 months. I'm seeing 14 months. Okay. Licia Baby, please, am I supposed to go to the interview with the original copy of my K1 visa form? No, the original copy. Yeah, you need a copy. Your sponsor should have made a copy of the form I-129F. He signed it and dated it and mailed it to the lockbox in Dallas. Then he made a copy, and he gives the copy to you because you're going to bring that to the embassy interview. Because the embassy officer, the consular officer, let me tell you about the embassy officer, the consular officer. Okay? They don't have time to look at all these documents that you bring to the embassy. They don't have time. They are going to look at your DS-160. So when you go to a visa interview at the embassy, you're going to see the immigration officer on his or her computer behind a window, whatever. What they're looking at is your DS-160. They're going to be primarily concerned with asking you questions about your relationship. They're going to test you. It's called a marriage fraud test. It's basically what it is. They want to try to find out if this relationship is real. They don't have time to go through documents. But bring the I-129F with you to the visa interview. Bring all the photos that you have. Bring a copy of your visa package, your birth certificate, original birth certificate, police certificates translated into English, original. And remember, police certificates are good for 2 years. So if you printed it 6 months ago and your visa interview's tomorrow, you're fine. Immigration officers don't have time to go through all these documents. They got hundreds of people in line waiting to get their visas approved. They're going to talk to you face to face. They may not even take your documents. except for the receipt for the MERV payment, the DS-160 confirmation page, etc. So don't worry too much about documents, okay? But bring them along just in case. Nikita, if I have hired a lawyer for this process, do I need to worry about any of this? Okay. If you hired a lawyer, that means the lawyer and immigration are the ones controlling your visa package, not you. You don't have control of it. Your lawyer has control of it, and immigration has control of it. That's why I don't advocate hiring an attorney unless you have a criminal background. If you have a criminal background and you need to make sure you qualify for the visa, then hire an attorney. But otherwise, I wouldn't do it, because now, Nikita, when immigration has a question or paperwork, or if let's suppose you get an RFE, it's going to go to your attorney, not to you. What if your attorney's busy for a week? What if he's on vacation? What if he doesn't get the mail? Or his secretary loses it? You don't know. You don't know. I would not use an attorney, because an attorney is controlling your K1 visa, not you. Karina, my prometida, her visa is in my hands, and immigration, obviously, immigration control it, but they're communicating with me, not with some attorney. Now, I'm not disrespecting immigration attorneys. They do a great job. There's people out there who are just scared to death of immigration and this process. And that's understandable. It's a scary process to some people. They're not confident in the paperwork. What if I make a mistake, et cetera, et cetera? Okay, hire an attorney. But when you do that, you take control away from you and give it to your attorney. What if your attorney fills out the paperwork incorrectly? Who suffers? The attorney? No, the attorney gets paid. You suffer, the client, not the attorney. But that's just my opinion, okay? Recon RV, NOA 131 March 2022. Well, you are in the queue, my friend. You're in the queue to get your NOA 2. Not much longer, okay? K. Luart, Hola Diego. I'm the one from the UK that is obsessed with Tokyo. Yeah, I know. You have cats too. Now, don't forget, you got to bring your pets with you to America. You can travel with cats to the United States. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, won't stop you from bringing your cat to the United States. But the airlines, now they may have a different story. Each individual airline company have their own rules and policies, which I respect. So Tokyo, we got a cat, Tokyo. We found him abandoned in the streets of Bogota, Colombia. Poor little thing. So we scooped him up and nursed him back to health. And now he's a strong, healthy, vibrant baby cat called Tokyo. And he will be accompanying us to the United States of America. And the good thing about Tokyo, we're going to buy him a little carry cage. Okay. The good thing about Tokyo is he doesn't need a K1 visa. He doesn't need anything. A passport. He doesn't need a passport. He doesn't need a visa interview. He just sits in his little carry cart, waits happily to arrive in Miami International Airport. And then I'll rent a car and we're going to drive home. Unless I can find an airline. Now, if I can find an airline in Miami that will allow us to transport him, then I'll just buy a plane ticket. But I have to buy a plane ticket for Tokyo too, and that's no problem. In fact, it's not a problem. You got to have the vaccination. You got to show proof of vaccinations for the cat, and the rabies shot. And you get a fit to fly certificate, right? Yeah, you get all that. You got to get the vaccinations and the rabies shot and the fit to fly certificate, but that is a requirement of the airlines. It's not a requirement of the Center for Disease Control in the United States. The CDC don't set that rule. That rule is set by the airlines. So we're going to fly Avianca Airlines from Bogota to Miami, because Avianca, as long as you buy the cat a seat on the plane, they're good. They don't care. Tokyo can fly. But I'm not going to say the names of the airlines, but I tried with other companies and they said, no, you can't bring a cat. We can't bring a cat. You can't bring. Okay. Well, then you don't get my business. As soon as Karina's visa is approved, it's in her Venezuelan passport. Will take a week. and visit with friends and family in Colombia, and call mom in Venezuela, say goodbye, and then we're on a plane. Yeah, so Kaylu, you're right. Yeah, just get the vaccination and the rabies and the fit to fly certificate. If any other cat owners need to know, yeah, bring your cat. The CDC in the United States will not block you from bringing your pet cat. Now, dogs are a different story. Dogs will require more paperwork, I think. But I haven't investigated dogs. We don't have a dog. I investigated cats. And Avianca Airlines, God bless them, Tokyo will get a seat on that plane to Bogota, from Bogota to Miami. Now, let's see. Christopher Brown, regarding the police report, should I get the FBI report or will the state police report suffice? You don't need an FBI report. All you need is a police certificate for your beneficiary. Okay. Now, Karina lived in Venezuela and she lived in Colombia. She's lived in Colombia for 5 years. So we got a police certificate from Venezuela on the computer. She goes online. She puts her Venezuelan ID number in, and boom, there it is. And we printed it, and then I translated it into English. And then probably in about 3 more months, I'll get a renewed police certificate for Colombia. It's very easy. Go look on the computer, punch in Karina's Colombian cedula ID number, boom. Print the certificate, get it translated into English, bring the original printout and the translation to the embassy interview. Very simple. No quarantine. No, there's no quarantine. People say you got to quarantine the cat the CDC does not require a quarantine for your cat. I read the instructions very carefully, and I also made a video about it. I don't know if you guys are subscribed to the channel or not. I mean, you don't have to be subscribed to the channel, but if you are, you can go through and find the videos that I've made, and it will say it is a video I made about bringing pets to Colombia and bringing pets to the USA. I made a video about it. No quarantine. There's no quarantine. No. Tokyo, our cat will get off the plane in Miami and go, "Ooh, it's hot here. I'm used to being cold in the mountains in Bogota. And where are all my amigos?" and then when Tokyo gets to Florida, he's a house cat. He's gonna run around the house, sniff out every corner, and as long as he's fed and has got a place to go duty, he's good to go. And then there's cats that come in the yard here sometimes, that belong to other people. They just walk around the neighborhood free as a bird. I'm sure he'll make some new friends, but they speak English cat and he speaks Spanish cat. So it's going to be interesting to watch how Tokyo interacts with American cats. Jose Custodio, do I need my original birth certificate or can I use a copy for the interview? Jose Custodio, you need your original birth certificate at your visa interview. You got to show the original document, not a copy. Original. Jason Mabry, will my fiance need my original copies of W-2s? No, copies. Can you explain what copies and originals are required for the interview, please? Oh, Jason Mabry, okay. You make a photocopy of the tax transcripts, make a photocopy of the W-2s, make a photocopy of 1099s. That's fine. You need the original documents you got to bring to the visa interview is birth certificate, passport, divorce decrees. If you have a divorce decree, it has to be the final document, certified copy. Certified copy. I wish mine's back here. I would show you, but you get your divorce decree, go to the courthouse or wherever, they stamp it. And they sign it. This is a certified copy of the final divorce decree. Every page. Now, every page. So if there's 20 pages to the divorce decree, you bring 20 pages to the visa interview, and you bring the original certified copy of the final divorce decree. And also, if you're from the Philippines, in the Philippines, it's impossible to get a divorce. So you get what's known as an annulment certificate. You got to bring the original annulment certificate to the visa interview to the embassy in Manila. And you get your medical exam done at the hospital at St. Luke's Hospital in Manila for everybody in the Philippines. Christopher Brown, sorry, I meant the police certificate for the American fiance. Uh, the American fiance doesn't need a police certificate. The FBI is going to do a check on me and a check on you, Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, at the NBC. If there's any problems, if they uncover any problems, they forward that information to the embassy in whichever country. And then when your beneficiary goes for his or her visa interview, the immigration officer will tell you, hey, your sponsor has a major problem and we can't issue you the visa. And that's 1 in a million. Okay. But what happens is for the sponsor, the American sponsor, the American gets a police check done by the NVC, okay, through the FBI. You don't need any certificate at all. Angel Mercia, do we have to translate the police reports? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Karina's police certificate for Venezuela was in Spanish. And it said, this police certificate has been created for the authorities in the United States. Boom. I got the Spanish group, a company called the Spanish Group. They don't pay me to say that, but the company, the Spanish Group. I'm in Colombia. I'm in Bogota, Colombia. I've got her Venezuelan police certificate in my hand in Spanish. I took a photo of it with my phone and I sent it to the Spanish Group in California. In 3 days, they translated it into English and sent me a certification letter in the email. They emailed me the translation and the certification letter. I then went down. We live on the top floor of this apartment complex in Bogota. I went down 4 flights of stairs, crossed over the calle, the street, and the lady across the street printed it for me. Boom. English translation, the original police certificate in Spanish, and the certified translation. Karina will bring 2 to her visa interview. The Venezuelan police certificate, the Colombian police certificate, both of them translated into English, both of them by certified translators. K. Lou Art, the heat of Savannah will shock my English cats. I've been to Savannah, Georgia. You got Tybee Beach right there, beautiful part of the country. And English cats will have to get used to the hot tropical heat of Georgia. And in a year after you're in the United States, I bet your English cats start getting a little bit of a Georgia slang when they meow, meow. There's going to be some Georgia slang in there. Okay, Kutroka Bini Yao. If the sponsor was previously divorced, does the beneficiary need the sponsor's divorce decree at the visa interview? Absolutely. Okay. If your sponsor, American citizen, has been divorced in the past, he needs to get a certified copy of his or her divorce decree, whether it's 1 divorce decree, 2 divorce decrees, whatever. And then that needs to be in your hand, Miss Beneficiary, Mr. Beneficiary. When you go to the visa interview face-to-face, you need the certified copy of the divorce decree in your hand. It needs to be stamped by the courthouse, certified copy and signed. You bring that to the visa interview. The immigration officer will take it under a glass partition. You slide it under a glass partition. You go, here you go, Mrs. Immigration Officer. Here's my divorce decree. They will ask you for it. They'll ask you for it. Angel Mercier, no problem. Christopher Brown, thanks for the great advice. No problem. This YouTube channel is for you guys. Okay. Now, I do the live chat every Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time, U.S. time. Every Sunday at 5 o'clock, I'll be here to answer questions. But because we're so close to May, lots of people are messaging me questions. So it's much easier if I just go live and answer your questions. K-Lou Art, yeah, your cats are gonna love Savannah, Georgia. Go take them in the car for a road trip to Tybee Beach. You know, you got all these overhanging trees. I can't remember the name of these. It's very historical, and you're very close to Charleston, South Carolina. And Charleston, South Carolina is very historical. Okay, go to Charleston, explore Charleston, and tell your sponsor, come on, we're going to Charleston for the day. Okay, honey. So yeah, you know, the K-1 visa process is stressful if you let it be stressful. Okay, don't let immigration stress you out. Keep thinking to yourself, my visa is going to be approved. It's just when. The question is when. Okay, when is it going to get approved? So everybody is like, well, I've been waiting for a year. Okay, so you're 1 year less waiting than people who haven't submitted their visas yet. There are people right now watching this channel who haven't submitted their visas yet, and I'm going to help them get through this process. Even when Karina is in the United States and we get married and her visa and we get our visa and a kid, everything's done, I'm going to keep on helping you guys, okay? Except the only difference is Karina will be with me some of the times. Sometimes she'll be in the kitchen working or, exploring the neighborhood, walking around the neighborhood with Tokyo, or she'll be here with me doing videos. Okay. Jason Mabry. When my fiance from Ghana experienced her first winter here, she will beg me to move to Florida. Yeah. Spanish moss. That's it, Kay Luart. Spanish moss. You're right. Yeah, it's Ghana. Now I don't know, but I think it's pretty hot in Ghana. I think the Florida weather and the weather in Ghana are pretty much the same. Tropical hot. But Georgia, which is north, if I got in my car and drove for an hour north, I'd be in Georgia. And Georgia, the further north you get, the colder it gets. I don't like cold weather. I lived when I was in the United States Navy. I was stationed at Charleston, South Carolina for 4 years. And in the winter, I froze. I'm like, forget this. I want to go back home. So when I re-enlisted, I was lucky enough to get back here to Pensacola. Thank goodness for that. Spanish moss. M.I. Iran. Hi, Diego. How are you? M.I. Iran. How's everything? Are you in Iran still, or did you relocate to another country? Because we don't have embassy processing in Tehran. I think you're going to have to go to an embassy outside of Iran. I'm pretty sure. In fact, you're going to have to. Same with Russia. If our friends from Russia are watching this, you guys are going to have to get your visa in Poland. Warsaw, Poland is the primary location. In order to get out of Russia, you got to get a Schengen visa to travel into European Union. Once you get your Schengen visa and your Russian passport, you go to the European Union. Then you got to make your way to Poland. So it's a little tricky for folks in Iran. Our friends in Iran and our friends in Russia are having a hard time. But you get through it and you overcome it. And I've helped several people from Russia get their visas. They listen to me, they take my advice, they follow my advice. Boom, they're in the USA now. M.I. Iran. Do you know how long does it take to transfer a case from Ankara to Armenia? Well, if your case went to Ankara, which is the embassy in Turkey, to Armenia, it's a matter of emailing. It's an email. You email the U.S. Embassy in Ankara and say, please transfer my case to the embassy in Armenia. And then you have to give an explanation. In the subject line on the email, you're going to put in there your case number, your receipt number, anything that you can identify your case to the immigration folks in Ankara so they can find it and then they can ship it to Armenia. How long does it take? Well, it depends on how busy they are and how long it takes to put together a package and ship it. Yes, we do not have a U.S. embassy in Iran, and that's why we can transfer a case. That is why we can transfer a case easier than other people. Yeah, if you're in Iran, now I love our friends in Iran. They're not a problem. Americans love Iranians. There's Iranians that live in the United States. Iranians aren't a problem. It's the governments that don't see eye to eye. The governments are the issue, and they create the problems for the people. Okay. Now I remember back in the 70s, Americans could fly to Iran on vacation, spend their dollars, have a good time, and come home. Not anymore. Same for Venezuela. Karina's from Venezuela. I would love to go to Venezuela and see Karina's mom and her family. She has a brother in Venezuela, one brother in Venezuela. But I can't, if I flew to Venezuela, first I got to get a visa. And then second, the Venezuelan government will know I was in the military, so I become a high-priced dollar item to them for negotiations. So if I went to Venezuela, I'd probably end up getting arrested, thrown in jail, and used as a pawn. Seriously? I mean, Governments really do suck, right? They really do. The people of Iran are wonderful. The people of Venezuela are wonderful. Russia, Ukraine, all wonderful people. But the governments create all these problems. Iranian people love American people. Absolutely. In fact, I had years ago. I had an Iranian friend. He got out of Iran after, then he went to Turkey. Then from Turkey, he got to the USA, and then he took out a business loan and he purchased a restaurant, a franchise. I'm not going to say the name. And in 10 years, he owned 20 of these franchise restaurants and became a multimillionaire. You know, and I'm so proud of him for what he did. Now, could he have done that in Iran? No, he couldn't have done that in Iran. Is Iran an enemy of the United States? No, Iran is not an enemy of the United States. The Iranian government is the problem, and the U.S. government is the problem, not the people. Okay? God bless the people of Iran. If only governments could get their heads together and start acting like rational human beings instead of immature kids, we'd be better off. And Iranian people love Americans, and we Americans love Iranians. We got no problem. I remember back in the 70s, the Iranians could walk to the store, they could buy a car. The women didn't have to cover their faces completely from head to toe. I tell you, anyway, let's not talk about politics in here because I love everybody. Okay? Iranians, Russians, Ukrainians, Venezuelans, Cubans, communist Cuba. Cuba, beautiful country, beautiful place to go on vacation. But the government is communist and they've got this thumb on the people. You can't do anything. You can't buy, sell, or trade. Anyway. MIRN, after 50 months and 24 days, you got your approval. Good job. 15 months. Okay, so say 16 months. That's a long wait, but you did it. You made it through the process. You got your approval. Now you need to get out of Iran and get to Armenia and start getting ready for your visa so you can get on a plane and get to the US of A. And we will welcome you with open arms to the United States. We are a very welcoming country. We love everybody. Good job. Good job. And I can't wait to see Karina's face when she gets to Miami. Everybody at the airport in Miami speaks Spanish. That's why we're going to fly through Miami. I mean, I could fly from Bogota to Houston, Texas, but Miami is pretty much everything Spanish. So Karina won't feel like she's a fish out of water when she gets off the plane in the United States. She'll look around the airport and see all the signs in Spanish, and she'll be good. Her first impression of the United States will be good. And then when we get to here in Pace, Florida, north near Pensacola, there's no Spanish, nothing here. It's all American. So she's going to have to learn English pretty quick. And she can do it. She's very smart, very intelligent. Kaylu Art. Yeah, congratulations to MI Iran. Jason Mabry. How long does it normally take to see a change in status of case received to case under review? It depends on your visa package. What are they looking at? How much paperwork did you submit? It all depends. Everybody's case is different. Okay, my visa is going to be different from your visa. It could take me 16 months to get my visa approved. Who knows? There's so much stuff they got to investigate. The past K1 visa that I submitted, they have to investigate. Did that person return back to Colombia or wherever? Did that person return back to her home country? It's a lot of stuff they got to dig through. So I can't really answer the question. So how long does it take to see a change in status, case received to case under review? It depends. It's hard to say. MI Iran, we still have 2 months for having case number from MVC, maybe 2 months waiting for sending our case from Ankara to Armenia. Yeah. So it's a little bit more time, but one thing is, once you get your visa approved in NOA2, and once it gets through the MVC case processing, and the MVC gets it and doesn't send it back to USCIS, everything's good, then basically you just got to relax your mind and start preparing for the visa interview. whenever that is. It's called TBD, to be determined, but you're going to get it. There are people today flying to the United States with K1 visas in their passports. Okay, they waited maybe 2 years because of COVID, but they're coming and they're happy. So yeah, they're going to send you a case from Ankara, Turkey to Armenia, and that's pretty good. That's good, but it's good that the U.S. government will do that. You know, USCIS are really trying to help you folks in Iran and in Russia and Ukraine get your visas. Communist Cuba, I don't know. I'm going to investigate the process for Communist Cuba, but Communist Venezuela, we have no embassy, nothing. The U.S. Embassy for Venezuela is in Bogota, Colombia. So Karina goes to the embassy in Bogota. We live 20 minutes down the road from the embassy on a bus. We walk down our apartment. We live on the top floor. We walk down 4 flights of stairs. We take a right. We take a left. We jump on the bus. We ride on the bus. We ride on 2 buses. One bus goes to central Bogota. Then we catch a second bus to the embassy. And it's 20, 30 minutes. There we go. Boom. You know, some people, like folks that live in Peru, let's suppose you live in southern Peru. They have to go to Lima, Peru for their visa interview. That's a 12, 15-hour bus ride. That's a long way for folks. Most people living in Peru, people who live in Peru getting their K1 visas approved, most folks I've seen are living in southern Peru, having to go to northern Peru to get their visa adjudicated. It's tough. You got to get a hotel and spend a couple of days in the hotel. It's not an easy process by any means, but you got to be calm and relaxed, because at the end of it all, the plane's going to take off and you're going to land in the USA. Zainab Bula, I got approved on March 20th, 2023. Didn't hear anything from NVC yet. March to March. No, there's a 2 to 3 month wait at the NVC. So let's see, what was that you said? March 20th. So April, May, June, March, April. So by June 20th at the latest is when you'll hear from the NVC. You're going to hear anytime between now and June 20th. Okay? Just hang in there. Be patient, relax, put your feet up, watch YouTube, watch our channel, watch videos, watch movies, and wait for your visa process to continue. K-Lu-R, you're almost there, Zainab. Absolutely. Almost there. You're at the finish line. You are at the finish line. And anyways, it's been a pleasure. I just wanted to jump on here and go live for 45 minutes or so and answer a bunch of questions. Don't forget Sunday at 5 o'clock Central Time. Now, please, sponsors, Mr. Sponsor, Ms. Sponsor, go to uscis.gov, go to forms, print Form I-134, Declaration of Financial Support, print the instructions, and study the form. Do your homework. Now, start doing your homework and preparing for the visa interview, okay? Documents to bring to the visa interview: original birth certificate, printed police certificates translated into English with a certification, divorce decrees, certified copies of divorce decrees, every single page, photos of your relationship from day one until the embassy interview. Take some pictures the day before your embassy interview with family and friends. Get it printed off your phone somehow and say, and the immigration officer says, do you have any pictures? Well, yeah, there's a picture from yesterday. Bring about, 30, 40 pictures to the visa interview. You're going to need the Declaration of Financial Support, photocopies of tax returns, tax transcripts, W-2s, 1099s. MIRN. Ordinary people cannot request for sending case from embassy to another embassy because they should have a reason for that, but we do. It is because we do not have an embassy in Iran, right? No U.S. embassy in Iran. It's unfortunate. It's most unfortunate. The Iranian people and the American people love each other, but the governments don't like each other. So it causes problems for the good Iranian people. Christopher Brown, I have an NOA 1 dated April 13th, 2023. NOA1, April 13th, 2023. I hadn't filed my 2022 taxes by then. Okay, no problem. No, you're good. When you go to your visa interview, okay, next year, okay, make sure, like I filed my 2022 taxes in April this month, and I sent a request for my transcripts. Well, I got a letter from the IRS that said no record. I'm like, great. So they haven't processed my 2022 taxes yet. So I'll wait till July or August and then get my tax transcript for 2022. When you go to your visa interview, you're going to need your 2022, your 2021, and your 2020 tax transcripts. Now, let's suppose in your visa interview is in May of 2024. Then you're going to need your tax transcripts for 2023. Okay? So be prepared for 2023, 2022, 2021. Okay? Do you understand? You're good. Don't worry. You won't get an RFE. Kay Luart, thank you so much. You're an absolute legend. No, I've just been through this process before, and I know how difficult it is mentally. Okay? I went through the K1, and then the person didn't like it in Florida, so I took her back home, and we were still married. And then she said, "Oh, I want to come back to Florida." I said, "Okay." So I filed for the CR1 this time, not the K1, because and then after waiting a year because of COVID, I had to call my senator to get some stuff moving. I finally got the CR1 visa approved for the embassy and an embassy interview approved in Bogota. And then she said, "No, I don't want to live in Florida. It's too hot. I'm scared of hurricanes. I don't want to learn how to drive. I can't speak English. I don't like the food." So I said, "Okay, have a fantastic, wonderful life." And I divorced her. And then it took like 9 or 10 months to get a divorce because of COVID. All the courthouse was locked down, and everybody was doing court decrees by Zoom. So I couldn't even get a divorce. So I had to keep going back to the courthouse and sticking my nose in their face saying, "I need a divorce. Get it done." I finally got it. So you understand, guys, I've been through this before, through COVID. So I know how it is, and I'm going to help you guys get through it. Stop being modest. You're keeping us all going. I'll keep you guys moving through this process. It's a piece of cake. You've got this. Am I Iran? How about your case, Diego? My case, well, my NOA1 letter was dated April 18th, 2022. So we're into our 13th month. So the way things are going right now, if our visa is adjudicated just like a normal visa would be, I will probably hear from immigration, let's say middle of May, beginning of June. But because I've been through this process before, there may be a little bit more investigating that USCIS has to do on my case, because I have, married a foreign national before, got a divorce from her, filed a K1 visa in 2016. So they're going to investigate to make sure that we are properly divorced, that the visas have been terminated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that could take a little bit longer. Okay, so it takes a bit longer. When I get that NOA2 letter, I'm on a plane to Colombia to see Karina. No doubt about it. I'm not making a video about it. You'll see. Kalu Art. Piece of Jaffa cake. Oh, I love Jaffa cakes. Now, Jaffa cakes are like an orange filled center, like a biscuit, chocolate. It's good. It's good. Okay, Kutrukan Bini Yao, you're the best, Diego. I'm so proud of you. I admire your determination and positivity. Yeah, this is a determined Diego, and I could, I want to see you guys get your K1 visas and get in the USA. I know the opportunities here are fantastic for you. Do you want to become a millionaire when you come to the United States? Do you want to start a business? You have all these opportunities here. Obviously, yeah, obviously you love your fiance, you want to get married, and maybe start a family. But if you're business minded, there's an opportunity here to do whatever you want. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger came to the United States from Austria with $10 in his pocket and family photos. That's all he had was $10 in family photos. He got sponsored by Joe Weider, the owner of a muscle magazine. He got sponsored. He came to the United States, won bodybuilding competitions, went into Hollywood, made a bunch of movies, and now he's worth over $400 million. This is a poor kid from Graz, Austria, who came to the United States with determination, grit, and courage, and a positive attitude. If you want to succeed in America, you got to have a positive attitude. You got to be determined, and you got to be hardworking. Okay, it doesn't come to you. You have to go to it. So to everybody watching from around the world, if you have the mindset that you want to be a millionaire, you can be a millionaire. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Okay, don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to negativity. Listen to your own self, your own dreams, and become a millionaire. And buy a big house and a big boat and a nice car, whatever you want. But you gotta have a positive attitude, and you gotta be positive, and you gotta stay the course, and you got to be hardworking. It requires a lot of hard work. Princess Lizzie, positive attitude, determination, and hardworking. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And avoid negative. If somebody tells you that you can't do something, go ahead and do it and show them that it is possible. Okay? You know, people told me I couldn't do, somebody told me I couldn't start a YouTube channel. Oh, you don't know how to do that. It's too complicated. You got to know, you got to learn film editing, video editing. You got to learn how to do computer programming, all this other. I said, what do you mean I can't start a YouTube channel? So I took classes on how to video edit and how to make videos. I took classes on how to use cameras, and boom, here's a YouTube channel for you guys. Don't listen to negativity. Janiela James Diego, read my question up top. Okay. Question. Someone was saying that you don't need bank statements or account balance to submit with I-134. You only need the tax transcripts or W-2s or employment letter. That's not true. You need to bring a letter from your bank saying, this is when I opened my account. This is how much money was deposited in 2022 or 2023. And this is the bank balance. You can either get a letter, or you can go to your bank, or what I do is my bank mails me a bank statement once a month, and I open up the letter, I read it, and I put it in a file for Karina. Every month, I put my bank statements in my file to bring to Colombia. You need to bring your bank statements to the embassy. The I-134 is fine. The tax transcripts are fine. But, they want to look at a bank statement to see where your money's coming from. What if there's a person that called his friend up and said, I want you to send me I don't qualify for the income. Go ahead and send me $1,000 a month to my bank. I'll deposit it once a month to boost up my income so I qualify for the visa. And then I'll pay you the money back when I get back to when my fiance gets to the United States. Okay? The only way that immigration is going to know that the money you got was legitimate is by looking at your bank statements and the deposits. It's, my Navy retirement, for example. My Navy retirement, I get paid by the Department of Defense, and they direct deposit my Navy retirement once a month into my bank account, and it says direct deposit, Department of Defense. Immigration can read that my income, that part of it, is legal and legitimate. The Department of Defense paid me, and it's in writing on my bank statement. Is that on a tax transcript? No. Is that in the I-134? No. The bank statement's very important part of this process. Please bring your bank statements to the visa interview. Jason Mabry, I wish I'd found your channel before the $3,300 lawyer cost. Thank you for all that you do for us. Jason, I'm sorry you paid $3,000 plus to a lawyer, because all he did was fill out I-129F and put a package together and mail it to the lockbox. And that's what you could have done. But here's my take. Forget about it. Move on. Stay positive, and be glad that your visa is in process. You know, there's no money, there's no cost for Karina. For my fiance Karina, there's no money that would ever be spent, would be wasted if it got her once it gets her to the USA. Cash flow. How much do they want to see in the bank? As much as possible. As much as possible. Okay? If as much $10,000 minimum would be good, but if you don't have $10,000 in your checking account, savings account, don't worry about it. They just want to see what you got. They want to see primarily what your income is. If you don't save money, then you don't save money. But if your income exceeds the minimum federal guidelines, they really don't care how much money you got in your bank account. They don't care. They care that you meet the minimum federal required guidelines for income for a family of 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. That's what I'm worried about. If it's $0. Well, if it's $0, that means you spend your money and have fun all the time. But as long as your income meets the minimum requirements for immigration, having $0 in your bank account is not a problem. But they do want to see where your income is coming from and that it's legitimate. Okay? They want to see it's legitimate. They don't want to see your buddy down the road lend you 10 grand and you deposit it once a month for 10 months. And then the record of that's going to be you depositing the money, not a company, not a business, not, you know what I'm saying? When the Navy send me my retirement check, they identify themselves on the direct deposit. The Department of Defense just paid Diego for his retirement after 20 honorable years serving the United States Navy. What is the yearly income requirement if you marry overseas? Ron Brown. The yearly income requirement if you marry overseas is 125% of the minimum income. But the difference is if you get married, okay, if you don't quite meet the income requirements, now excluding the Philippines, this is every other country but the Philippines. If you're short a little bit, then you only have to multiply the difference using assets by 3. So let's suppose you're $5,000 short, okay? You have to find $5,000 by multiplying by 3 your checking account, your savings account. Let's suppose that you have $5,000 in savings. 3 times 5 is 15. 15,000, you're good. But if you're in a K-1 visa process and you don't quite meet the income requirements, you have to multiply everything by 5 to meet the income requirements. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're married under a C1, CR1 visa, you can make up the difference with assets and cash, multiplying by 3, and it's 100%, not 125% of the minimum income. Okay. Cash flow. Wait a second. Janella James, when filling out the form, do we estimate the yearly amount for the income? Do we need an exact figure amount? Okay, well, you can't get an exact figure because your visa interview could be in the middle of the year. So if you're making X dollars a month, you multiply that by the 12 months. Okay, like my Navy retirement is X amount of dollars. And now let's use me as an example. Okay, I went to Colombia for 10 months and I just lived off my Navy retirement. I wasn't selling houses. I wasn't doing anything except spending time with Karina and exploring Colombia. So when I filed my 2022 taxes, all I had was my Navy retirement. Okay, so now I'm back in the United States. I'm back to work. My income is going this direction, not this direction. So when I go to when I fill out this form I-134, the income that I want to put on here is how much I'm going to make in 2023. Now, it may not be exact because I'm going to have to estimate it because I don't know. I could sell a house, I could do this, I could do that. So I don't know what my income is going to be. So I'm going to average it. Okay. So I'm going to take my Navy retirement, multiply it by 12, and I got a pay raise on my Navy retirement. So my income went up for my Navy retirement. And so how do I prove that? Because my tax return shows the other income from 2022. My income went up in 2023. How do I prove to immigration that my income went up? Well, bank statements will show between now and when we go to the visa interview, the direct deposits from the Navy went up. So the evidence is in the bank statements. So when I fill out my I-134, Declaration of Financial Support, I will bring to the visa interview my bank statements showing my new Navy retirement pay was increased. 1099s, it will show direct deposits from my other job, okay, which I wasn't doing in Colombia. I wasn't allowed to work in Colombia. So my other job is going to be direct deposits. Will pay me direct deposit. That's going to show up on my bank statement, direct deposit from this company, okay? And then I'll get an estimate and add it all together, and that's the number I'm going to put on this form right here, okay? Before taxes, Ron, let's see here. Krukan, Beanie, Yo, are they considering underage children from previous marriage in the income eligibility? Okay. Are they considering underage children? If your sponsor, okay, has children from a previous marriage and he is financially responsible for them, okay, then they will be included as part of the family size. If he's paying child support, I'd have to investigate that a lot further, okay? But that's a good question. I'll investigate it. Remember, I'm not an immigration attorney. I'm not a CPA. I'm a real estate agent. But underage children from a previous marriage. Now, okay, for the beneficiary. Okay, let's suppose you, Miss Beneficiary, have a child from a previous marriage. You divorced, separated, whatever. You better be divorced. Then on the form I-134, the sponsor will include the underage child as a dependent, and will have to meet the income requirement for you, Miss Beneficiary, and the dependent child or any dependent children, okay, and himself or herself. Ron Brown, if my income is $70,000, then we are good. Oh, you're fine. The 100%, the 100% minimum income requirement for a family of two, I believe is. Let me see. It's in my phone here. Let me show you. Okay, so you want to know what your minimum income requirement is. Very easy. I'll tell you right here. Hold on a second. Bear with me. Okay. If you are a family of two coming to the United States in 2023, when you go to the embassy interview face to face, you have to make a minimum of $19,720 a year. When you get to the United States and adjust the status to a green card, you have to make $24,650 a year minimum. Mr. Sponsor, family of two. If you are a family of three, okay, when you go to your face-to-face visa interview, a family of three, that's a beneficiary, the sponsor, and a child, you have to make Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, $24,860 a year minimum. That's the minimum. When you get to the United States and adjust the status to a green card, you have to make Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, $31,075 a year. That's a family of three. A family of four, add $5,000 on top of that. Okay, so if you're a family of four, you're looking at like $25,000 for the face-to-face visa interview. and then 36,000 for the adjustment of status. Okay, so how do you prove that? Let's see what we have here. And it's before taxes. They look at what your income is. How much income did you make on line 9 or line 10 of your 1040 and the tax transcript? So Ron Brown, you are good with 70 grand. You can sponsor me. You can sponsor 2 other people on here. I'm just kidding. In 2022, I made 21,000. This year it will double or more of that. Okay. Okay. You just got to be able to prove with evidence that your income has doubled. How do you prove it? How do you do that? Bank statements showing direct deposits, banks, pay stubs, a letter from your employer. Dear Mr. Immigration Officer, Mr. Ron is employed by me since this day and makes this much money. So you're good. If you make 70 grand, you're good. Sound good, guys? Are we having fun yet? Are we having fun? Look at the rain out here. I mean, this is Florida tropical weather for you. It is pouring with rain. The thunder's kicking in. I'm surprised I haven't lost internet. So we're lucky. We're very blessed today that we didn't lose internet. But I'm going to log off now, guys. Okay, I'm going to check out of here. I don't know. I can't go outside and play because it's raining and thundering and lightning. So I'm going to research some more videos for you guys. In fact, tonight I'll publish a video about Qatar. How about the embassy, the U.S. Embassy in Qatar, Middle East? Our friends in the Middle East. How about that? We'll do a video about Qatar and the embassy processing, and I'll publish it tonight at midnight. So it will kick in for tomorrow, the 28th. All right, guys, we're almost into May. Stay positive. You guys are going to get your visa. Don't be negative. Don't get down. If you get down in the dumps, okay, send me a message in YouTube. I'll talk to you. You're going to be fine. It's a long waiting game. And when you're a fiance, and once you get into the USA, you guys get married, all this stress will be gone. All this waiting, all this nervousness, gone. Okay? K-Lou Art, we're having all the fun. I can't believe it's raining there and not here in the UK. Yeah, but the rain here is hot. It's like 90 degrees out there. Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in centigrade, but when it rains in England, the rain's cold. It's cold. Everybody gets sick and starts sneezing and blowing their nose. I'm kidding. I love England. Beautiful country. Beautiful. I lived in England as a kid. Beautiful, beautiful country. Ron Brown, all this doesn't apply to the Philippines. The Philippines, yeah, it applies to the Philippines, but with the Philippines, you can't have a joint sponsor. Okay, if you don't meet the income requirements, you cannot use it for a K1 visa. You cannot use a joint sponsor or assets. So if you're in the Philippines and your income is below the threshold, my recommendation is get married to your Filipino fiance and bring her over on a CR1 visa, because then there's no problem. Okay, then you can use the assets if you want to, but as a K1 you cannot. Christopher Brown, please do one for Abu Dhabi, UAE. Okay, Abu Dhabi. Okay, now watch what I do. I'm going to take a screenshot of that request there so I don't forget, because I'm doing lots of stuff, folks. I'm having fun. So pardon me while I take this picture so I don't forget to make that video. Now, Princess Lizzie, it was raining in the UK today, London. Surprise, surprise. No way it was raining in London today. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I'm kidding. I went to England on vacation for 30 days in July 1996. I was in the United States Navy and I was stationed in Sicily, Italy. And I got this flea in my ear that I wanted to just bounce around a little bit, take some vacation. So I flew to Malta, little island in the Mediterranean, and I hired a driver and I explored Malta for the day. And Malta used to be a British territory, and everybody speaks English. So I explored Malta, went to Calcutta, Slima, Valletta, went to Golden Bay, went to the beach, everything. And then I said, okay, now what do I do now? Let's go to London. So I flew to England for 30 days. And in July of 1996, it was about 70 degrees every day, 68 to 70 degrees. And it rained every single day. It rained every day. I'm like, seriously, folks. I'm walking in down. I went into Harrods. I walked into Harrods to look at. And they told me they were selling tigers in Harrods. I said, yeah, right. And they were. They were selling tigers in Harrods. I walked out of Harrods, and it was pouring with rain. Did I have an umbrella? No. What do they call it? A brolly in England? No, I didn't have a brolly. So what do? So I went back into Harrods and spent $100 on a $10 umbrella. Seriously. But I had a great time in London. I went to the Wax Museum, Madame Tussauds, went to Kensington Gardens, went to Speaker's Corner, went and walked outside Buckingham Palace, and the Queen's flag was flying. So I'm assuming she was at home eating her tea and cookies. Then I jumped on a train and I went to Portsmouth, and then in Portsmouth I went and got a rental car and drove to Plymouth and explored the west coast of England, Cornwall, Plymouth, Devon, Torpoint, Torbay. And then I got on a bus from Portsmouth and went to Brighton and explored Brighton Pavilion, and then went back to London, explored London, and then I flew back to Sicily. Great time. That's my England story. Andrew, not in Manchester. Kelu Art. It's not raining in Manchester. Now, Manchester United is a great football team. And I think Bobby Charlton used to play for Manchester United back in the day. Andrew Bryan, approximately how much time will it take after NOA2 letter? It will take between 2 and 3 months for your MVC processing. And then from the MVC processing, it could take anywhere from 2 months to 8 months for your visa interview. It depends on which embassy and which country and how busy everybody is. Kay Luat, my fiance, visited in January. A poor guy. January in England? Whew, I bet that was cold. Did it snow? Whew, I don't know. I remember as a kid living in England, I used to sleep next to this gas radiator thing, Majigga. It was built into the wall, and it was like a big metal thing. And it kept me warm. I remember that. Diego, you see more of the UK than me. Well, get on a train and go explore before you leave England and come to the USA. Go explore your country. It's a beautiful. I tell you, I went to Torpoint. I went to Land's End. I went to the tin mines in Cornwall. I ate Cornish pasties. I remember Portsmouth being very busy. The trains were busy. It was great. I loved it. I'm going back to England. When Karina becomes an American citizen and gets her U.S. passport, our first place we're going to go on vacation is going to be England. We're going to fly to London and then figure it out from there. Ron Brown, how much longer is your wait time? Azami Dokit, hi. Keluat, he did. Okay. Ron Brown, how much longer is your wait? Diego, okay. Well, when I get the NOA2 letter, that could be this month. It could be next month. So let's say a month from now. Then I got to wait 2 to 3 months for the MVC to provide me a case number. So that's 3 to 4 months. And then I got to wait maybe 3 to 6 months for the visa interview at Bogota. So let's say 6, 8, 9. Let's say 6 to 9 months more. So let's say 7 months to split cat hairs. 7 more months. In the next 7 months, I have been granted permission to travel to Colombia for 6 months. So I may be lucky enough to spend the next 6 months with Karina out of the 7 months or 8 months or 9 months that's left to finish up this process. Hopefully that Ron Brown, I think I'm looking at another 6 to 9 months. But it's okay. I'll just fly to Colombia. Gagan Singh, how much time will it take after NOAT? NOA2 letter, 2 to 3 months for the MVC, 3 months to 9 months for the visa interview. Depends on which country. Like Mexico's busy, the Philippines are busy. Although I've seen a lot of visa interviews getting scheduled in Honduras, Central America, Panama, very quick, very quick. Central America is pretty quick. Cash flow. So the whole process could take 2 years. Here's my philosophy on life before I log off of here, guys. Take 24 months, 2 years, take 24 months, and somewhere in that 24-month window, your visa will be approved and you'll be in the USA starting your life together with your sponsor. Okay? 24 months. Now remember this. The first K1 visa that I applied for, everything I did in 9 months. Everything was done in 9 months. Now, because of COVID, shutting down the embassies, shutting down the State Department, shutting down the global economy, shutting down the whole world, basically, we're out of the COVID problems. We're getting through it. And the embassies, starting last year, reopened up. So what happened when they reopened up? They had a backlog of K1 visas, thousands and thousands and thousands. There was 400,000 visas that were in backlog a year and a half ago. Well, now they're down to like 40,000, I think. I got to check the data. But they went from 400,000 backlog to about 40,000. So visa processing has gone from 24 months to 18 months to 17 months. And then NOA1 to NOA2 is now 12 or 13 months, 14 months. Unless you have a tricky visa package, like mine's a tricky visa package. There's a lot of fluff in there they got to fluff through. So it could take a bit longer. Okay? Ron Brown, I was in Colombia, Medellin 2 weeks ago. Oh yeah, mi alegra. Medellin, the city of eternal spring, a beautiful, beautiful city in Colombia. It's 80 degrees all year round. The climate is the most perfect climate that I've ever encountered. I've never been to Medellin, but I know my friends who live there love the climate. Okay, and so beautiful Medellin. Very historical town too, especially in Zona 5, I think it's called, or Zona 10. Can't remember. Zona 5. Very, very important part of Medellin historically. So congratulations, Ron, on your trip to Colombia. I hope you had a good time. Ate lots of good Colombian food. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the stream now. I hope you enjoyed the live stream, watching the rain in Florida empty into my backyard. And don't forget, Sunday at 5 p.m., I'll be back here ready to answer your questions on K1 visas. Hasta luego, and we'll see you. And to our friends in England, stay warm. And to our friends in Nigeria, it's warm there. Stay cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope I didn't miss a country. Thanks, everybody.